So, welcome to Europa Universalis 4, EU4. Now I'm doing this like a complete amateur, sat in my bed with a cheap headset, and with no script or anything. Let's see how we go with me just talking about the most basic first things you'll see on this game. So this is the opening menu. I'm going to start a new single player game. Here it gives you all the options, literally all the options in the world, random American tribes, anything. Default start is 1444 AD, which is the way the game begins, and the game runs until, it runs until 1820. Best to start in 1444, despite all these various options, because frankly, I don't think these auto-generated start points have survived the DLC well enough. Particularly, I think the DLC has broken some of them, but yeah, we'll go with this. These big ones at the bottom are just options, suggestions for you. I can click on these, or I can click on any little thing, like the ultimate meme of Ulm. But I'm going to click on England. Some stats over here, we'll worry about those later, and then click play. Normal mode or Iron Man mode, literally the only difference, apart from what it says about achievements, is that you can't save scum on Iron Man mode. And if you start save scumming in this game, you will never stop. So, frankly, this is for the best. I'm just going to override that save. So, let's see how long this takes to load up. So, you start your game, you get this great big window. Most of what's in this window is flavor text, that is, stuff about real history or things that you'll find in more detail elsewhere. So it's country, explains a bit of background about what on earth England is, including the fact that you have a king, Henry VI, who is the worst king ever possibly imaginable. We'll get to him. Yeah, bit of flavor text there. Religion tells you that you are Catholic, as is all of Western Europe, frankly. This gives you certain benefits listed here, but we'll go into more detail on the religion screen. Yeah, more information there. Governments, we are a monarchy. Some basic bits about the dynamics of monarchy here. You need heirs, you can do royal marriages, etc. That we'll go into more detail in the diplomacy and government screen. And then environment is the most generic thing. It's saying you're in Europe. Europe is a mess, especially Germany. Stay out of Germany. It's all horrible there. Yeah, that's all that. And these icons along the bottom are all the multitudes of endless DLC that have been made for this game over the years, including the newer ones, which I have not bought. I have bought a lot, but by no means are all of them really vital. There are sort of a key half dozen. I forget what they are. Art of War is one, but anyway, that's for another time. So, flavor screen out of the way, we start the game. We start paused on the 11th November 1444. I don't remember why it's the 11th of November. This is the world map, and it's slightly graphically modded. I cannot live without my lovely thick border lines between my country and other countries. In the default game, they're very pale, and it just becomes a horrible blur, particularly between countries with vaguely similar map colours. And I think I've also got a mod on for map colours as well, but yeah. But this is the default map. It's the political map. There are endless map types. It has most of them down here, but there are even more. Most of them you won't ever need, but we'll start here. This is your country. It is England. You own what looks like England and Wales and a little bit of Ireland. Whoops. And also parts of France. Normandy here, Aquitaine here. Your land is split up into provinces, which are these little things here. If I click on one of these provinces, as I did a moment ago, let's click on Oxford, brings up the province screen, which has a lot of details. Again, most of it you can ignore without having to worry about, unless you want to do things like build particular buildings, which in the game we can do virtually none of. Yeah, so, and another thing on the map view, you'll see that there are some little fort icons. These are provinces that a castle has been built in of some sort. That means that if you're at war, someone's at war with you, and they want to take this province, they can't just walk through it easily like they can most others. They're going to have to besiege this, which, particularly before cannons come into the game, means they have to sit around for a couple of years. So you've got more castles down here. You can't see other countries' forts by default, and until you're at war with them. You've also got some armies standing around. Just 3 land units, very simple: infantry, cavalry, artillery. They will get upgraded to different, better forms of infantry, cavalry, and artillery as you progress the game. But simple enough: 10 infantry, 3 cavalry. And over here I have 11 and 5. Similarly with ships, you have 4 types of ships. You have heavy ships, the big ships; light ships, which are mainly used for trading or for protecting trade ships, but you just lump everything in a fight, to be honest. Galleys, which are the ones with oars, they're only useful really in certain seas. The Mediterranean Sea, galleys work. North Sea, not so much, unless you're Vikings. I don't know why. And transports, which are unarmed, but they can move units. So, 7 minutes on the clock. What can I talk about? This great big button on the top left is basically your entryway to most of the sub-menus that you will need. Here it goes, and there's various tabs here. You can access these through other things. For example, some little alerts here are telling me you have a free advisor slot. If I clicked on this banner, it would take me to this page, which is where I can set advisors. So these alerts will take you to the relevant bit in here. Some of these banners are vital. They are red. I need to designate which countries I hate. Fine, we'll do that soon. Yellow ones are not necessarily a problem, but it's probably for the best that you do something about it. Like, I need to set a debate in Parliament. That is to say, a bonus that Parliament will give me, and if I don't, yearly corruption will grow, and corruption basically costs you money. Bribes, So that's what these amber ones are. That's another one about Parliament. That can be ignored. Green ones are, you could do something about this, but maybe not. As I said, I don't have to have advisors. It's just a good idea. This one, this Messifer one, is telling me every country that I know of that doesn't have an heir. And so if I wanted to play the clever diplomacy game and go, I'm going to marry into that family, and then if they don't have an heir, there's a chance that I can have a claim to the throne and all that bollocks that never actually pays off. I don't care about that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this banner to make it go away. Right, so yes, I won't go to the sub menus now, but that's about the big button and these. This one here is basically a quick link through to various things you can build or spend money or points on. Government reform won't matter a damn until about once every 40 years it says, you've earned enough points to do a government reform. Okay, we'll look at it then. At the top, so, obvious one first, money. They're called ducats in this game. Next to that you have manpower, how many spare men you have. This is not including the ones that are already here on the field. These are reserves that you can either make new units out of, or can reinforce your existing units if half of these guys get killed in battle. So that's it for land units, sailors, equivalent for naval units. Stability. Your nation has a stability rating from -3 to +3. Plus is good. I won't go into all the mechanics, but plus is good. It starts off at 0. We'll raise that as soon as we get a chance. Corruption. As I mentioned earlier, corruption is just a thing that you try to keep away, but it ends up appearing at some point anyway. It will cost you money if it exists. It's a pain. Prestige. Prestige is important for various things. It is literally, you can see the list of bonuses that I get from my little bit of +8 prestige. It goes up to +100, or +99, one of those. You can see lots of green benefits, like little, you won't understand what half of these mean, but you can tell they're good. By default, your prestige will decay yearly, so mine's losing 0.36 a year. It goes up by me doing things like beating people in wars and just generally being prestigious and throwing my weight around. Legitimacy. How legitimate is our monarch? Again, rated from 0 to 100. If it gets low, there are going to be rebels. If it gets below, I think if it gets below about 60, it starts to become a problem. Shame that my monarch's legitimacy is 100 because he is useless. Moving on, power projection. This is similar to prestige, just something that comes along by virtue of stuff you do. You get different bonuses from this. Yeah. So these 4 are kind of like units that you have. So the first one is merchants, and I have 2 merchants. I have none free because by default the 2 that I have already been assigned to collect money in trade centres and places. Fine. I have no colonists because we're too early in the game for colonists, so we don't know what America is. But if I did, I would be sending those colonists to create colonies for me. Super. I have 3 available diplomats. There are many things diplomats can do. You can see that I've got them listed here in this handy window. Whether that's to make friends, or spy on people, or declare war, or any number of variations on that. We'll get to those. And finally, we have missionaries. If any one of my lands were not Catholic, and I desperately wanted them to be Catholic, I would set a missionary at work to make them Catholic. Or, Church of England, when that comes about, that will be preferable. So, that's most of the top bar. The main other thing here are these 3, and these are your 3 sets of monarch points: administrative, diplomatic, and military. And what monarch points do, I mean, the main thing is you save them up and you advance your technology with them. There are many other things. One way of increasing your stability is to spend administrative points to do it. One way to hire generals who will make your army fight better is to spend military points to do it, etc., etc. There's many essential things you need them for. The reason they're called monarch points is because, as a monarchy, the number of points you get per month is dictated by your monarch, and they will have a score up to 6 in each of these to say how useful a monarch they are. So if you've got a 666 monarch, that is the absolute best. You're getting as many monarch points as you could possibly get, and you'll be swimming in these things and being able to advance and do lots of lovely stuff. I have King Henry VI, who is a bell end of utter uselessness. Not only is he horribly young, so he'll stay around for a long time, he has nothing to add in terms of monarch points. You get defaults of 3? 3. You get defaults of 3, but he gives you nothing on top. He has these horrible traits as well. I can't have sex. Well, thank you, Henry. I am so awful at diplomacy. Thank you, Henry. Brilliant. Yeah, a lot of the early game of England is surviving the shit you're in at the start, having this awful king. France will declare war on you imminently because 100 Years' War, and the War of the Roses will turn up at some point, and that's fun as well. If you can get through all this, England's great later on, I promise. Just to finish off the screen, I have no heir at the moment. As you say, he's very little chance of having one. That is something that will appear at random, but it will be helped if I could get a... I mean, you know, logically, it would be helped if I could get a queen to have an heir with. He hasn't got one. No one likes him. Ugh. This is where I buy advisors. Now, advisors give you bonuses to your monarch points, but they cost quite a lot of money to do so. Here you can see that by default they've chosen to focus, and you can pick a focus, one of the three. Focus on diplomatic points, which is why admin and military have been reduced from 3 to 2, and those points have gone into diplomacy. So that's why it's a 5. If I was going to change this, which I can only do I think once every 10 years? I don't know. I want to anyway, so let's say I'm going to switch the focus to admin. Yes, 20 years. I can't do that again for another 20 years, but that's what that change has done. I'll finish with advisors, just to keep this under 20 minutes, bloody hell. So you get a random selection of advisors. They cost different amounts of money per month, depending on whether they're giving you 1 admin point or 2 admin points or whatever. No way at this stage in the game am I going to afford anything more than a 1 point, so I'm going to choose the one that I can afford, regardless of what his extra bonus is. So this one has got a bonus of making rebellions less likely. This one makes you gain this prestige more quickly, and this one, production efficiency, aka money. So I'm going to hire that one. Cost me a bit of money now, and blah blah blah. You will see, come to that, you will see if you hover over the treasury what your monthly balance is. Now it says it's plus 9.43. I don't trust that at the beginning of the game. I think once I get to the next month, December, it's going to reset to something more realistic. But anyway, I could hire more advisors. They have different sort of things. Make diplomacy better, trade better, armies fight better, more armies, etc. But I'm going to stop there, because I've gone through the banner and the map, and just the first of these many menus, and I'm already coming up to 20 minutes, well, 19 minutes. So let's see if this recording is worth a damn. So